pitching a tent, learning bushcraft, paddling a canoe down a shady river. When you join Scouts, it opens up a new world of adventure and excitement, way more fun than anything on a screen. Scouts are looking for new members right now, and it's a great chance to try new things, travel to exciting places, and make lifelong friends. Scouts need adult volunteers too, so it's a great chance for you to join and spend time with your family. Google Scouts Queensland today. The adventure awaits.
Following podcast is made by youth from Kennedy Region Scouts. This episode was recorded at Townsville City Library's digital studios.
Hello and welcome to Scouts Compass podcast. Sitting with me today, I have Crispy from Charters Towers. How are you, Crispy?
I'm doing well. How about you, Mitchell?
I'm doing all right. I have Nathan from Loam Island. How are you, Nathan?
Good yourself?
I'm pretty good. And Platypus from Loam Island as well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Today we're here to talk about the leader experiences at Jamboree. We've heard from participants and we've heard from parents at Jamboree. If you would just want to tell me, each of you, just tell me a little bit about what you did at Jamboree and what was it like briefly as a leader at Jamboree.
So I worked on Queensland Contingent Media. So we were responsible for capturing the event and then sharing that with the families back home, taking photos and videos and doing social media posts.
Cool. Nate?
Worked in logistics, so making sure everyone was getting fed, catered. If the sub camp needed something, they'd come see us. We'd then provide it to them and they'd go back out to the camp and then basically every day, non-stop.
I was one of the unit leaders. I was actually the troop unit leader for the unit from Townsville, Charters Towers and Cairns. So my job was the actual running of the day-to-day of the unit, making sure everything from hygiene to the kids getting out to any mishaps that may happen medically, emotionally was addressed every day.
Cool. Nate, we'll hear from you first about your experiences at Jamboree. What was it like as a venture service leader?
It was actually completely different to past years where I've gone as a participant. So you do the same thing. You get on the plane with your mates and that, but then after you get to site, you actually break away from them and you've got to go find your own, where you're sleeping, where you're eating, where you're sharing, where you're working. So that's one of the challenges you find in about the first day. You got to find who you're in a tent with. You got to set up your whole tent, get sorted. And then basically the next day you hit the ground running with going to work, as in my job was logistics, so you hit the ground running and you're feeding people.
Can you tell me a bit about what day-to-day life looked like for you at Jamboree? What did each day look like for you?
Each day for me was basically getting up between 4:30 in the morning and 5 o'clock, get down to the big logistics, what we call the shed, which was our distribution centre. So jump in a truck, go either out to the sub camp to Warren, which is the furthest one, or go out to Fraser Coast, which is a bit closer, or Chile. So I was mainly based out at Chile, so I'd get up at 5, walk up there to their sub camp, basically help them open everything up. Then the trucks would come, drop all their... So the sub camps would come along, get their fresh milk and bread and ice every day. And then about lunch, we wouldn't see them up until about 2-3 o'clock. So in between that, we'd go down the shed, go down to what we call the shed and help them do their things.
Can you tell me what it was like preparing for Jamboree? What was it like getting ready, knowing that that was the role that you were going to end up in?
So I had, preparing for AJ, there wasn't much difference to... Like, I was chatting to some of my mates that were in the lines and it wasn't that much different. The only thing I had to bring extra was some steel cap boots and a pink hivers vest because logistics was known as the pinkies. So we were walking around, AJ in pink hivers vest, pink shirts, and that was, if you needed to see someone from logistics, it was like, oh, go see person down over there in the pink shirt. Oh, okay, cool. And you'd stick out in a crowd. It's like, it was pretty cool just seeing like the teamwork from like everyone that comes from different parts of Australia and coming together, and it's like you got a job, you get it done, you smash it out, then it's the same thing. It wasn't much different to your normal holiday, really. You just had to bring in an air mattress, your cutlery, and your boots.
Were there any days where you just couldn't get the trucks through that you had to actually break it off, and how did you do that?
So how we did it was there was one day where it absolutely bid down raining. So it was basically 3 days straight. It just didn't stop raining on and off. So we actually weren't able to get I think it was Fraser Coast wasn't able to get their food dropped right at their corner stall. They had to get the forklift to unload it on the side of the road. And because basically that road was even sketchy getting the forklift and the truck down, it was that boggy, they weren't able to. And I remember it dried out a little bit and you watched the truck and the forklift just basically moving the whole ground as it went along. So 1 minute you'd have dry ground, next minute it'd be just nearly bogged very closely.
So when they dropped the food, the scouts had to come to that drop point, that new drop point. Is that how it went?
Yeah. So they had to come. It was only like another 10 metres away. Okay. So they came and everything was all set up. They grabbed their trolleys. They had their ice. And ironically, it started to rain that same night. So it was, right, you just need to get it all out, gone, done. Right, go back to camp. It's going to bucket down raining. We need to get out of here. So how we got in and out was either by a buggy or by us walking in and out. After a long day of working, you don't really want to walk out. Nearly to the back of Tawan, it was 2 kilometres back to the shed, and it was another about a kilometre back to where I was sleeping. So if I missed the truck, I had to walk basically nearly 3 kilometres to get to work.
And the multitude of different diets that you would have had.
Yeah. So you'd get people come in and go, I haven't got this. Where is it? And you'd go, oh, it should be here. Did you not get it? So they'd go back. They go, no. Then you got to go through Evelyn. Then you got to ring up down the distribution centre, say, where is it? It took nearly 2 hours one day to get something up because someone forgot to put it in the box and they went, oh, well, that's not good. We need it up here now.
Do you know how many different multitude of diets that you would have been catering for?
There was at least, I think there was one day we had a 20-litre bucket. There was about 8 of them full, 20-litre buckets. So there was at least 15 different diets one day. And that was one day, and then there was another day where it was ice cream night, and there was another 15 on top. So it was like 30 in a span of 2 hours. And this is crazy.
Someone that has a dietary issue, I will say that this was the best jamboree for providing the best tasting gluten, dairy-free food ever. Because I've been to many jamborees where the gluten-free has not been. They picked the cheapest stuff, and I will say that this was one of the best that I've ever been at. So it was really well done by the catering.
Well, thanks for your input, Nathan. Platypus, I'm going to throw over to you. What do you think it was like having Venture participants in your unit?
Well, the Venture participants being the first year that we've ever had them, it was good because our group was very diverse in age. So we had a lot of younger ones, and then we had the few old ones, but that Venture allowed us to have that extra support and the skills that the younger scouts didn't have. So they were very, very valuable in our troop lines. I think our venturers put up our dining fly on their own, which was quite good, which allowed, when it came to pack up time, to have the scouts to assist, which when they had watched you put them up, they understood how to be able to pack it up. So having that knowledge of the venturers, their skills and knowledge, did actually support the 4 leaders that we had at the beginning. And considering we arrived so late in the day on site, to watch the ground go from one box to a home which had, 7 tents and my little one, a laundry, a dining room and a kitchen set up within about 4.5 hours, and being able to cook a dinner for you, which was quite amazing.
Yeah, cool. What do you think was your most rewarding part about Jamboree?
Having been a parent, I've been the other side. I've been a parent of 3 boys that have been to Jamborees. Being able to give back and being on the troop lines with the Scouts, watching Scouts go off to do activities and had been talking to me about it, about the hesitation and, I don't think I can do it, and watching them come back after they had succeeded and undertaken the abseiling activity or didn't want to go through the mud and come back as muddy as, just the looks on the Scouts' faces and that achievement and the not giving in to themselves and giving everything a go, and was just amazing. Just the expression on their faces when they achieved things at the end of the day, and also doing the little things like, reminding them they had to do some of their own washing, and then I don't know if I can do it. Yeah, up you go. So they get down the back in the laundry with their bucket and their plunger, plunging away their clothes. But even the simple little tasks, watching them have a go at it and realising that they are much more capable than what they give themselves credit for.
Just piggybacking off that, did you notice anything? We've obviously been back at Scouts this term for a few weeks now. Have you noticed anything within the Scouts of the Scout unit for us that went to Jamboree? Have you noticed anything in terms of their leadership, being like accountability and stuff? Have you noticed any improvements in that from Jamboree?
Absolutely. The youth went away being Scouts. They've come back with that can-do attitude, the ability to show others, knowing that they've done it, and sharing their skills. And hopefully, by sharing their experience, we may even have more Scouts attending LEAP this year, because there's quite a few of them that want to give that a go. So that'll be a great reward to see how that information of the experience, the tasks they got to do, what they just even the little things that they had to do has been shared, and they freely were capable of getting up and sharing those, where some of those Scouts previous to Jamboree I don't think would have stood up in front of the Scout group and spoke, and now they are. So that confidence, that emotional intelligence that they've all developed, along with the resilience, and it's just amazing to watch 12 days can turn them into such a different person.
Just on the back of that, like when they came up in the morning for the first day, it was like you see them all nervous and they're with their leader. By like day 5, 6, 7, the leaders just said, here's a list, bring back everything. And 98% of the time they were bringing back everything plus more. And the leaders would have to say, don't bring anything else. Like, we don't need any more food. We don't need this. And they were just going from basically having to learn everything to absolutely mastering it in the span of like a week. It just blows your mind.
Absolutely. Once they had their first duty day, and having that plan that I had the plan out. So, when you do breakfast, you had to make sure this is done. The kitchen needed to be cleaned. The tables need to be wiped over. Once they realised they needed just to follow that plan, their second day, when they had their second duty day, was so much easier for them. They just flew. I could virtually just sit back and watch, and if they just missed one thing, just remind them. So, yes, their development in seeing things that needed to be done without being told also happened during that Jamboree, which is quite good.
In terms of having venture participants in your unit, do you think it helped take a lot of the load off leading the unit off yours and our other unit leaders' shoulders? Do you think having the venturers there to help lead the unit took a bit of that load off? Because
our unit, most of the units have the 4 leaders. They also had 2 to 3 service leaders. We were unlucky that we only just had the 4 leaders. We didn't have any service leaders. So having those venturers there, yes, did provide that extra bit of support. Not that it was that we wanted you to take on that role, but at the end of the day, if you saw something you could provide some positive way or interpretation for them to be able to, give something else a go, or remind everyone to put their bags away or things like that we didn't have to do. But yeah, it did provide some relief for us as leaders, but we wanted to make sure that you didn't take on the lead role because you were there to have that good time just like everybody else.
Can you tell me what the escape day or the leader rest day activities were, and the ones that you did go on, what were they like for you?
Okay, so through a jamboree, each leader is meant to have at least 2 days off. We definitely, through the rotation, all got 2 days off. My activity day was at the Kingfisher Resort, so I travelled from Jamboree in a bus to the ferry across to Kingfisher Bay, where we were met by a lady that gave us a list of activities that we can do. I went and had a tour around Kingfisher Bay. We did a bush tucker tour, and then I also did a tour as how they built the Kingfisher Bay Eco Resort, which was quite amazing, the timetable and how they built it with the least amount of damage to the environment, and how it was all actually done before, because the government changed all the rules and regulations because it was all finalised probably about 6 months before the rules and regulations changed in Australia under the eco-tourism and environment laws, which means that if it had been any later, that resort would not be there now. But they're, a lot of the stuff that they have sands, they have to go like 6 metres down into the ground. How they did it without damaging the environment was quite amazing. But then we also got to have lunch, which was totally different to having a lunch at Jamboree. Went to a restaurant where someone brought out my food. Yes, Scouts were cooking for me, but it came out on a big plate, and it was a steak, and it was still intact in one piece, not cut up into pieces. No, it was really good. And then to come back to Jamboree and just see all the Scouts find out what they'd done at the end of their day was good. I know that there were buses at the night time that Scout leaders, if they're on their day off, could go out and have dinner out as well. Didn't actually do that. Came back, I made sure that I was back for the Scouts. My second day off was meant to be in Maryborough, but they had the Maryborough tour going, and I actually stuck with a couple of the Scout groups that went out there that day. But I still got to do some of the activities and ring the bells in the Anglican church, the big bell ring. Went on one of the train rides with the kids. We went and learnt the dance what was it?
The flash mob dance.
The flash mob dance. Had to go and learn that. That was entertaining, watching some kids that have no coordination learning to dance. But they got it in the end. They made sure it was nice and good. And then we went and saw Mary Poppins' house. So, yes, even though it was not a technical day off, I still got to
You still got out of Jamboree and got to experience stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then another one of my days to go out. So we did have to do some off-site because they do need leader supervision on some of the days. Was at Australian Zoo. So we went over there, watched the crocodiles, went and saw all the animals, fed some kangaroos.
Very good.
Really good.
You mentioned earlier that you'd been to Jamborees before. How do you think AJ2025 compared to any of the other Jamborees you've been on?
Well, we were in the best set of ground. We didn't get muddy with the rain. I would say that this group we had were all Northern Queensland kids, so that when they put them together, it was good to have a group that wasn't spread from one point in Queensland to the other. But Jamborees are designed to be very similar, but the last one we had was in Adelaide, and the temperatures, I was freezing at the night time and I was hot during the day. So the temperatures in Maryborough was quite constant for me. But yeah, South Australia was 5 degrees at night to 40 degrees during the day. So, but no, they're good. The concerts were awesome. I've never actually seen Amy Shark before in concert. She was really well, and I had no idea who Shepherd was, and I'd heard their songs, but it wasn't until I actually started playing I realised I did know who they were.
Yeah.
So yes, being an oldie.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you for sharing. Crispy, you mentioned that you were on the promo team. What did that entail for you?
For me personally, it was mostly just taking photos and a couple of times some videos or something of the kids doing their different activities. As a team, we covered other topics, so we wrote a daily newsletter that went out to the parents, social media posts, that stuff, but I wasn't involved with that. That was our team leader that did that. So I just went out and took the photos and brought them back to be put up.
Can you talk us through the process of capturing the event?
So essentially, I just went out with my camera and I just took photos of the kids doing stuff like that. There's not really much of a process to it. It just, so at the start we made up a roster and each day people were assigned to different activities. So we'd all go our separate ways and go to our assigned activities and just spend the morning there or the afternoon taking photos of the kids doing stuff.
How you mentioned that there wasn't really a process, but did you consider how you were going to block your day out? Did you maybe one day, because Tuan and Fraser Coast were quite a walk away from the mall, did you for one day go, okay, I'm going to spend the day or a couple of hours up there to capture what's going on up there and then move down? How did you plan?
So actually what I did early on in the Jamboree is I wanted to try and get around to all of the Queensland units, not only just to say hello and get some photos of kids doing stuff around their campsites. This was mainly on the days where I was still setting up, so you get some good photos there. But I also wanted to check in with the unit leaders and find out if they had any youth that didn't have permission to have photos, because that's a fairly common occurrence and we take that quite seriously. We definitely try not to put up any kids that have media restrictions. So I went around and met up with the unit leaders and had a bit of a chat with them, introduced myself. And so those days I went through Fraser Coast and then up into Tuan, way down the back. I didn't really get back there much just because of the distance. It's a long distance to walk constantly all day. So when I went up for the activities that were way down the back, so your adventure, your challenge, those ones up there, I would go through there and pop in, take some photos of the campsites. But other than that, any photos that I did get of campsites were mainly in Chile, because that was close. It was close to the mall. It was close to our headquarters, and we didn't really have to go all that far out of our way. But mostly it was just taking photos of the different activity bases.
Was there a day that you went out and had photos that's really stuck with you since Jamboree? Is there a day that you got to experience something that's really left a mark?
Part of the reason why I enjoy doing promotions is I get to see the kids doing the activities. So one of the options this year when I went was I could work on activity bases. And one of the reasons why I went with promotions is because you get that variety. If you run an activity, you're in that activity for the entire time. And that's your one task. Whereas being on promotions, you get to go around, you see the kids doing all the activities, you get to see the fun that they're having, you get to see what's on offer, and then you're able to relay that back to the people back at home. So in terms of days that stuck with me, there's not one that particularly stands out, but it was really enjoyable seeing everything that was on offer across the board. There were some activities that I didn't get to. I didn't get to go to Australia Zoo, so I didn't see what was happening there. But between those of us in our team, there were 5 of us. No word of exaggeration. They are some of the best people I've ever worked with. Absolutely love it. Between the 5 of us, we captured everything that there was, and then we'll just all come back together and upload the photos and get them published.
Is there an activity that you really enjoyed covering?
I was actually quite disappointed with the entertainment, because by the end of the day, we're back in our little office. We're uploading all our photos and preparing stuff for the next day, doing socials, doing newsletters. So I never actually got to go down to any of the entertainment things to capture them. I was obviously there at opening ceremony and closing ceremony, but like the international night, I know they did, I think there's a country square dancing thing or something. I didn't get to go down to those ones, which was a little disappointing. I guess the upside of that was our HQ was fairly close by, and we could hear everything that was going on. We could even look over the fence and try and see the stage a bit. It was quite fun. As in the last day or so, when they were preparing for the closing ceremony, we're trying to work out who this surprise act, I guess, was, and we're all little discussions happening in the contingent about, who do you think it is? And we had our phones out trying to like Shazam the songs and find out who it is. And one day that I particularly enjoyed, it wasn't so much promotional stuff, but on my day off, I went over to, kind of like Jacquie, I went over to Fraser Island as well, except I went on the 4-wheel drive tour. So we went and saw the shipwreck and Eli Creek. Beautiful creek. Love that. That was so much fun. Again, had lunch in a restaurant, which was quite different to what you've been used to. So that was good fun for me. And then on my second day off, like Jacquie, I just went into Maryborough, and it was kind of more of a working day off. Went in and took photos of the kids doing their activities, but I was happy with that because I haven't been to Maryborough before, so I wanted to get in and see what it was like.
Nate, sorry, I didn't ask you earlier, but did you get days off? And if you did, where'd you go?
So, yeah, I did. I had 2 days off. So one day I went into Maryborough, and as what Crispy and Platypus did, I actually went as well and got an actual meal, which was steak as well, because the food was good, but it wasn't like home-cooked meal kind of good. So, yeah, we went there, poked around Maryborough, explored there, did some shopping, and then the second day we went into Australia Zoo, and that was just, haven't been there in ages, you just get like deja vu again, like when you're a little kid walking through the gates going, oh, wonder if this is here, wonder if that's still here. Oh, let's go there, let's go see this, let's do this, let's do this. Yeah. So it's like you go back and like you're a little kid again.
I'm going to open this up to everyone at the table because obviously we're all from the same region. Were there any points where you saw other people from the region and just had a nice conversation, heard stories, especially from people who weren't camped with us, Platypus, from other subcamps and stuff, or people that you knew from, say, LEAP or some other events that you saw and had a good conversation with?
I did see Ricky from Mackay. Had a lot of conversation with her. The nights where she was locked in, we even had phone conversations when it was too flooded for her to come, because unfortunately she was at the Fraser Coast, so it was a long distance to go see her. I think she came across one day to do some badge swapping. I didn't actually get over to Fraser Coast. I spent a lot of time being on site because I had leaders who had children in our troop line. Which means that I allowed them to go out with their kids to have more experience. My children have already been and gone through jamborees, so it was more important that they got out and went along. They went over to Fraser Coast though, but yeah, I think just when you're in the lines too, it is a requirement to have a line leader in the lines at 24/7 with the square of ground, or actually a rectangle of ground that we were entitled to, that we had all the gear on. So, during the day, you do need to go to the bathroom and things like that. So you hook up and you have conversations with the units around you. So we were surrounded by New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria. I made quite a few friends with those leaders in their lines. So I would allow them to go, they would allow me to go, and we watch all lines. We had to share the sullage points between our units. So, bartering that sort of stuff as well at the beginning. But the leaders are all just amazing people. They're kind, they talk to each other. I have been to jamborees before. I found some of the states didn't like interacting with others, but where we were, most of those people were quite open, talking, it would give you the shirt off their back if you needed it, and would be there to help you if one of the other kids needed support, which was really great to see.
How about you, Crispy?
Yeah, so it's not until events like AJ where I realised just how many people I actually know, because going around doing promotions, you're all over the place, so you're seeing thousands of people every day. And so many times I'm just walking along and I hear people call out my name, and I turn around and it's someone I know, whether it's from the region. The amount of times I'd catch up with guys that I know from Townsville, Kerwin and Loam Island or something, or even Lower Burdekin. Every time she would see me, she would come running over and say hello and have a chat. But even other people from Camp Leap or from Cubbery or Governor General's Camp or any other, even people that know me and I don't know who they are. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Good to see you. No clue who they are. The amount of people that recognise me and came to say hello is just unbelievable. It kind of makes you feel like a bit of a celebrity when you're walking around and everyone's coming up and saying hi.
But you are a celebrity, Crispy.
It certainly seems that way. I never thought so, but yeah, the amount of people, and it's those connections that you make that get you places. So like even joining this team was because of the connections that I had. I worked with our team leader Nairi and Matt. I worked with them at Cubbery, had a blast there, and so she actually asked me to jump on the team as well. Otherwise, yeah, who knows what I would have done.
I heard a rumor, Crispy, that one night you were falling asleep over the top of your computer and some of your team members hijacked your phone.
So that rumor is largely blown out of proportion. It wasn't my phone. It was our team leader's phone. But yes, I did fall asleep.
I was going to say, there is definitely a photo of you falling asleep on the...
There is a photo out there. I've tried to suppress it, but I can only do so much.
Yeah. How about you, Nate? Because you were working in the logistics and you said that you were mostly in the Chile sub camp, which is where most of Kennedy region was. Did you ever cop any friendly banter or anything from us when we came up?
We were polite.
They were very polite. Yeah, if you'd hop out of a fridge and next minute you'd hear like your nickname called out and you turn around and you're like, who's that? And then you turn around and go, oh, it's you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was doing something one day and I was like, trying to get something done. Next minute, one of me mates from big scout groups comes over and starts talking and I'm like, oh, here we go. Not this again. And then you just keep talking, and you catch up with so many people. It's like,
yeah,
even people that were down at Fraser Coast that we met from Mackay, it's like, you'd be surprised how many times they came up and bumped into you and throw some banter at you and you ended up throwing it back and it would go back and forth. But it's like, just times like them, you don't talk to them often, don't catch up. So you catch up properly and do everything, hang out for a while, and then you just meet all over again. And then just as you do, you throw your banter back and forth.
Yeah.
As a leader who's had her ventures working at a jamboree, it is amazing when you walk around and you get the feedback from the leaders you have worked with, because the feedback from both Renee and Nathan's leaders that they were with was they were the most polite, well-mannered, hardworking venturers that they have ever had at a jamboree. So, that feedback, I'm not 100% if it got to use, but these jamborees would not go ahead without our working venturers. So, we don't have enough leaders. We have the most wonderful leaders on the lines, but we have even the most wonderful leaders in our med centres because, without jamborees run as a city. We have our own police, our own fire department, we had our own hospital, we had our own dental. And I will say that the dentist, I'm going to give him the most wonderful value marks ever.
Oh, no, he was great.
When we took up one of our scouts for and most normal dentists aren't braces qualified, but he fixed so many braces, and he even fixed one set of braces in our group on the night we lost power. And he was just about to put it on and the power went out and he went, so we even tried with the torches from our phones, weren't strong enough. He went out to his car, got a headlamp and attached this with a headlamp. So, these are all qualified leaders taking time out of their lives to come and work at a jamboree and can still use basic resources that Scouts always will use to do their most wonderful work. So, he was just amazing and was always on hand, ready to go with any dental problem that was available. So, the amount of leaders with the amount of skills and the amount of care that they gave to all those Scouts was just phenomenal.
Yeah, just on the back of the Venturers. So I was in their lines and the whole... about 9 o'clock, you just see like, how do I describe it? Like a swarm of venturers like moving from the stage to their camp, like stopping at our HQ, then from the HQ go to their tents, and it's like they all just disperse, and it's like they hit one point and they all go boom. They all disappear into the tents, and then you
They
don't hear them.
swarm and then go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they go home.
Yeah.
So like they just
And then the phones come out.
no,
Oh,
they just crash and sleep.
I was going to say they've probably
So I
been
remember-
worked to the point where there's no thought of getting on their phones.
I remember getting up to go for a shower, and it's like, right, it's about 9:30, and you just walk past a row of tents, and you just hear every single one just snoring. It's like, yep, this is AJ. Everyone's buggered. We're ready to go for the next day, and they all get up, ready to go, and you just do it over and over and over, and it's like a cycle. And then about the last day, it's like you have this realization, like, oh, I'm going home tomorrow. Oh, it's gone too quick. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I want to stay. It's like there's points. It's like you meet friends there, and like I'm even talking to mates now, and I think Mitchell is as well. Same with you guys. Like you meet people and you still talk and you communicate and like to go, hey, how you doing? And all this. It's like we form connections with Cairns, Mackay, and all that through these events.
Even people overseas, we still
Yeah.
talk to.
and I've been a leader in very many states. And so it was really good to go around to the Queensland, the contingent, their displays, and you walk in. So I walked into the ACT and the Northern Territory, walked straight in, and they went, oh, Platypus, you're in here. And like, knowing that I haven't been in the ACT since 2010, knowing that those leaders still remember you is quite nice.
Yeah,
Little bit of
quite a special feeling, yeah.
yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to our rapid fire Q&A. It'll run like this. You got 30 seconds to come up with a question. 30 seconds to answers for the person you picked to answer the question. You can ask anyone sitting at the table. Platypus, we'll start with you.
Crispy, the fact that you have been on many events, which event do you think really is one of your favourites?
Definitely Governor General's camp. That was good fun. And one of the only major events that I've been to where I went as a participant. So I got to do all the activities. I wasn't there running activities. I wasn't there even doing promotions, which I also really enjoy. But I got to go there and do all the stuff. And I made great friends with a lot of venturers, even some scouts. Still in contact now. Saw them all at AJ. Even had a Governor General's reunion on one of the nights. So we all got together at the Nat Shack and met up, had some food and drinks.
We'll go with you, Crispy. You go ahead and ask your question.
Nathan, are you planning on going to AJ2028?
Yep, most definitely. I'll be back even thinking about going to World. So it's definitely something that you go, this is cool. I want to be a part of this. You're interested, you basically rock up, and it's like you just watch a whole city evolve in less than 48 hours.
Still want to do logistics? Want to do something else?
I'd like to do something else.
What have you got in mind?
Do something different, like out of your comfort zone. So logistics, you learn different ways, how everything forms. Just see trucks rock up and food going out in Eskies the next day and people being fed. So there's different areas in that. Maybe on an activity.
Yeah.
Yep,
That'd be good.
and that's time. Nate, off you go.
Crispy.
Yes.
Are you going to go to the Way Out West moot?
I plan on, yeah. That's the next one I got lined up. I want to go out to WA, planning on taking a few of the Rovers with me as well. We'll go out as a crew. That'd be pretty sick.
Jacquie, Platypus, would you recommend someone to go on a major scouting event such as Jamboree, AJ Venture, World Scout Jamboree, or Rover Moot?
Absolutely. Even, going, Scouts doesn't only just hold the jamborees, there's world jamborees, there's exchanges. Scouts provides many opportunities for youth to go and test their own abilities, to go and explore the world, and have, people from overseas come and stay with you and you go and stay with them. But it definitely provides you with the ability to make friends, to try new things, and to also, go outside your comfort zone and try to better yourself and to realise that you are much more capable than what you think you are, because we know how great our scouts are. It's about them learning how good they are.
I just wanted to put forward to the entire group, if you had the opportunity to come up with an activity for Jamboree, what would you pick?
We use existing activities.
No, you had to come up with a brand new activity.
I'd like to see a lot more high ropes in the activities, because I know they did bring them in this time with the zip lining, but I'd like to see high ropes. Time limit to set them up might be the issue. But yeah.
They did have milk crate stacking and monkey climb.
Yeah, no, I want high ropes where you travel from one to the other.
What about you, Nate?
Probably go on an expedition, like a hike or something.
Mm-hmm.
So go on an overnight hike where you're away. So like when South Australia did theirs, they did a night where you're off-site at Woodhouse. Yeah.
Okay, I'm rolling my eyes. As a leader, that was the biggest nightmare.
Yeah, I know.
A camp inside a camp was a nightmare.
Yeah. So maybe like do a hike or something where you are off-site for a day and then you spend overnight elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like that experience where you can not like you take a group and like you get given a map and you got this boundary line, but you have people like checking in on you, so you don't get geographically misplaced or anything.
Yeah.
You stay in a certain spot and you just have like your own time where it's like you guys, you don't have 4 other patrols.
Yeah, you've got no time restrictions on you have to be out of here to get to an activity or something.
You just got to be, right, your bus is here at this time.
Yeah.
If not, you will be searched for.
Yeah, you got to be in and out at this time, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. What about you, Crispy?
I don't know, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm not the program director, but maybe depending on location, maybe if they did some sailing or something. I don't know of any jamborees that have done that. Maybe they have, I don't know.
Just wanted to hear from Platypus and Crispy. Would you recommend someone become a leader at Scouts?
Absolutely. I had the best outside curricular activity where I actually get to not only assist Scouts and everyone, I also get to actually do the activities as well. So it's the best of both lives, helping someone, but also getting to have a go. And, you get the training to be able to do the adventurous activities. And you can choose to do the ones of your interest because, not everyone wants to abseil. There's, lots of other different adventurous activities, whether that be archery, bushwalking, canoeing, kayaking. So there's a lot of, stand-up paddleboardings in there now. So snorkeling, things like that. So whatever's your interest, you can then pass that passion on to the youth of today.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, as well as when you're a leader, one of the main things is that you're leading the youth and helping develop them into better people and develop their leadership skills. But there's still a lot of room for your own development as well. Whether that's, as Jacquie was saying, vet qualifications, even certifications. So like through my work at AJ, I got Cert 3 in active volunteering. So there are plenty of pathways for you to go down where you can develop personally yourself. And then there's still a lot of opportunities for your own fun as well. I have loads of fun at especially major events where I go along. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it, but a lot of fun to come out of it as well.
If you could say one thing to someone and they're telling you, I'm thinking of joining Scouts as a leader or even a youth member, if you could say one thing to them about that, what would you tell them?
Go for it.
Give it a go.
Yeah. I agree with that. And thinking about doing it's all well and good, but you don't actually get to experience it until you just get in there and do it. So I do agree. Well, thank you for sharing your stories with us today. It was really great hearing from our final perspective of Jamboree. We've heard from youth members, youth participants. We've heard from the parents who were there with us, and now we've heard from you. So it's really good to be able to hear all these different perspectives of how Jamboree went. Do you have any closing remarks that you wanted to make before we finish up?
Yep. In 3 years, let's go do it again.
Absolutely.
See you in 2028.
If you want to know more about Scouts, head to the Canning Region Scouts Facebook page or scoutsqld.com.au today.